Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but on occasion I'll browse Twitter looking for something entertaining to hide the boredom of everyday life. A while ago, I was in this scenario, and like any other day, I scrolled through my feed intently. Eventually, I found something that caught my eye, and now here we are. I thought it'd be a fun waste of time if I were to share the stories of some of the strangest rulers I could find with you all, in hopes of making your days a little more interesting. I'm just going to focus on one ruler for today, but if anyone who listens likes it, then I might do more and make it somewhat of a series. Okay, so the first ruler I thought was really interesting was Nero of the Roman Empire, who ruled from 37 to 68 AD. Now, upon first glance, he seems just like any other Roman emperor in the Julio-Claudian dynasty. But after looking at him some more, I found out that he was a pretty weird dude. After doing further research on Nero, I noticed that most of these historical accounts were written by people like Suetonius and Cassius Dio, who lived many years after Nero had died. They were mainly biased against him, so take these stories of him with a grain of salt. I personally would like to believe that these events did indeed happen because they're quite humorous for a leader of Rome to do. But it might not be true. I think one part of why he was persecuted so much after losing power is because the government had recently swapped from the Republic into an empire. If not for this drastic swap made in 27 AD, Nero probably wouldn't have been hated so much. But by some of the things written about him, one could infer that he wasn't exactly a great leader either. Also, keep in mind that for the most part, I'm only going to talk about the strangest things about this ruler, so it won't be a completely accurate representation of his life in chronological order. Of course, it will still be an educational video, but not necessarily a biography on his life. For one thing, the guy's mother was the great-granddaughter of Emperor Augustus, who may be known better by his other name, Julius Caesar. Nah, just kidding, this Julius Caesar was much lamer than the one that you're probably thinking of, and actually did basically nothing except for becoming the first Roman emperor following the Republic, which was destroyed by the cool Julius Caesar, but that's not super important. So anyways, his mother, Julia Agrippina, killed the last powerful freedman in hopes that she could become ruler. But instead, his consultants told him that he should act up and take the spot as emperor. Basically, he ended up killing his mother just to show that he was fit for leadership. The death of his mother is not fully known. We know that he ordered an assassination, but from there the accounts on what happened become fuzzy and the written records start to overlap. According to Suetonius, after Nero had guards assassinate his mother, he said that his mother committed suicide after attempting to retake the throne. Either way, Suetonius said that his words later came back to bite him, as he suffered from visions of her specter for the rest of his life. Anyways, this Nero guy, after being basically forced into spot as emperor at the age of 17, decided that he would use his power in some pretty weird ways. He had quite the temper, which was shown through his actions. After divorcing his first wife, he told his guards to behead her and bring the head to him. After he received the head, he brought it back to Rome so his second wife could mock it. Of course, he wasn't much nicer to his second wife, Papiena, of whom he kicked to death while pregnant with their second child. I know it seems shocking, but that isn't even the weirdest thing. What is strangest is that many months later he saw a young boy who looked a lot like Papiena. Probably feeling a combination of guilt and anger, Nero married the man only to force him into women's clothes and have him castrated to look more like his previous wife. One last fact about Nero is that in his palace he had a revolving dining room, which was powered by a nearby aqueduct. It is such a fascinating mechanism, written about with great descriptions even by those biased against him like Suetonius of Rome. Its popularity is partially due to a currency from that period with a picture of the room, and abbreviations for the words Machina Augusti, meaning the machine of the emperor. Okay, now for some good things about his rule. Well, for one, he did give slaves the right to sue their owners if they were deemed unjust. This was a really big deal that was often overlooked back then due to the other awful things Nero did. Nero also ended private trials in Rome, which was really progressive at the time. On one hand, this rule was really good for the slaves who supported him because of their ability to sue their owners and because he banned capital punishment. On the other hand, he also was a crazy nutjob and part of the Julius Caesar bloodline, so it makes sense that richer upperclassmen would dislike him during his rule. But usually in ancient Roman government, going for slaves is not a great business strategy. I would go on all day about other cool and unusual things that happened while Nero was emperor, but alas I cannot. Maybe in the future I will talk about him again, and I encourage every one of you to look into him and find out more about his life. Geez, Nero is cool, huh guys? I didn't even cover the majority of his life. Man, I didn't even talk about the Great Fire of Rome. Well, maybe another time. Anyways, your support is greatly appreciated. Until next time, omnibus gratias vobis and farewell.